What's good, y'all? Michael here today with another video. Before we begin, please go subscribe to my channel if you're new. Leave a like. So let's get into this Matt Nagy situation. Do I believe Matt Nagy is giving up play calling? Oh boy, this has been my sparkling for quite some time. Will Matt Nagy give up play calling? Well, folks, part of me wants him to give up the play calling, but there's a part of me that says, nah, he's going to let his ego get in the way. How do I say this? I like Nagy the person. I don't like Nagy the play caller. Like, don't get me wrong, Matt Nagy brought in some energy when he first was the Bears' ever head coach. We went from 5-11 to 12-4 in his first year. We were a pretty decent team in 2019 with an 8-8 record. Yeah, we didn't make the playoffs, but we still went 500 with Matt Nagy. But Matt Nagy is considering to be Mike McCarthy. And how do I say that? Mike McCarthy was carried by Aaron Rodgers. Now, Matt Nagy is the same thing. He's being carried by great, talented defenses. Like, for example, 2018, our defense was number one in everything. No one can deny the defense was number one in 2018. Number one in sacks, number one in turnover, number one in basically every category, and it was still pretty daunting. Like, you don't know what would have happened if the Bears made that field goal. If the Bears made that field goal, they might have went to the Super Bowl that year. You may not know what would have happened if the Bears made that field goal against the Eagles at home. Like, all I have to say is Matt Nagy. For example, let's go back to the Tennessee game where it was 4-1 and we went for it. Duh. He on the first drive. I'm not talking about the two false starts. He runs it up the gut, which obviously the defense is in gut formation. You know what I mean? So he decides not to shovel the pass with Patterson, but he decides to run it up in the middle instead of just letting the running back go to the left or to the right and having lead blockers. Like, Matt Nagy is a doofus, bro. Like, lots of his play callings that he does, it just shakes your head. Like, now let's go back to the other play. Obviously, it's not on Matt Nagy. Well, it kind of is because lots of linebackers were creating penalties. I think if Crawford was mostly creating penalties. So we went the second time, it was 4-1, then false start, then we go for it again, which we should have kicked the field goal. Then another false start, then we're forced to punt. You see what I'm saying? This offensive line is pure garbage. So is the play call. Like, Nagy just, if he wants to save his job, he better give up play calling tomorrow. Because folks, this is his last year if he doesn't perform well. This is his last year. We are not going to see Matt Nagy next year if he fails. So, actually, we're going to keep Nick Foles. Okay, Nick Foles will still be here. It's just we're going to sign a veteran quarterback, maybe Sam Donald, maybe Gardner Minshew. Like, there's decent amounts of quarterbacks at the backup quarterbacks that the Bears get. Obviously, they're not starting over Nick Foles because Nick Foles is going to beat them out in training camp most likely. But I don't think Nick Foles. Like, here's the thing. My whole thing is with Nick Foles is he wants to win no matter what. So that he's been taking shots at Matt Nagy, been saying, sometimes I just know these plays are not going to work. I know these plays are not going to work. X, Y, and Z. Like, he wants to win no matter what. So pretty much, I kind of like the quarterback energy. Like, you want to win no matter what. So you're trying to win no matter what. So if I'm looking at the Bears situation, is they don't have a play caller and they also don't have an offensive line. Now Ryan Pace did sign Eric Crush to the practice squad. Hopefully, we activate him and cut Crawford. Sorry, it's a little bit raining here, so I'm not sure if you can hear me, but just bear with it. So if I'm looking at the Bears situation, it's just like, damn, they're not well coached. They're not well executed. Like Matt Nagy needs to either like I'm 99% sure he's gonna get asked about it tomorrow. All right. Remember, he didn't want to make the quarterback announcement until game day, and then we're like, oh shit, we have to say it now. Oh yeah, we're not waiting. We're not doing it. We're not hiding anything. So lots of people are going after Matt Nagy saying, oh, we want to hear this live. Folks, you want to make Minnesota prepare for whoever they're giving a play calling to. So that's pretty reasonable if you ask me. Now, if we look at our current opponent, the Vikings, apparently they've been on an impressive 2-game winning streak. Now, there's still a little bit holes in this Vikings team. Their whole offense is Dalvin Cook. Like no one is sold on Kirk Cousins. Their whole offense is Dalvin Cook, which I'm pretty confident now we can stop the run because we did it against Derrick Henry. And Kirk Cousins really, really isn't a threat to the Bears. Like he has played terrible versus the Bears before. One time we had a backup quarterback, Chase Daniels, and the whole backups of the defense. Yet we were still able to win that game. Like I'm just seeing this as a possible standard that we could win against the Vikings. But it's going to be very close because our offense is pure garbage. Our linemen will come back, hopefully. I did see Jason Springs get off the COVID list. Hopefully, Cody Whitehair gets off the COVID list. Hopefully, we signed Eric Crush to the active roster. We activate him. Hopefully, we activate Lamar Miller because David Montgomery is in concussion protocol as we speak. Hopefully, but I'm a very high believer on Artavius Pierce. Like I just seen his highlights, and the dude looks amazing. So if I'm looking at this, David Montgomery, he's not a huge loss. He's only a huge loss if he's on your fantasy team, but he is not a huge loss for the Bears because he doesn't have an effect on the Bears because of Matt Nagy. So if I'm looking at it from a standard, I'm going to say the Minnesota defense isn't shit, okay? It's full of rookies, it's full of unproven. They don't have any pass rushers to get to the quarterback. Like, really, they don't have any top persons. Like, only Daniil Hunter. They just traded Yannick Ngakoue, and they're pretty much their good player is Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith. Those are the two only good defensive players on the Vikings right now. Like I don't see any Vikings players like to get to the quarterback like Daniil Hunter. Like those three players are good, but at the end of the day, this Minnesota Vikings team is pure garbage. Regardless what you think, I know they've been on an look. I know they've been on an impressive. Like let's look at the teams they beat. They beat the Texans, who are how should I say this? The Texans are garbage. Like they're going to trade away to Sean Watson pretty soon. Hopefully to the Bears. Then they're going to then they beat the Packers. Okay, we'll give them that. Me and myself, many others weren't seeing the Vikings going into Lambeau Field and beating the Packers. Like many of us did not see this coming. I originally picked the Packers to win that game because I did my list. If you follow me on Instagram, I do daily weekly picks. So every Tuesday. So tune in if you follow me on Instagram. So if we look at the possible standard, it was very surprising that the Vikings lost. The Vikings actually won that game. Like I didn't see the Vikings winning that game. Maybe they would be a decent amount of team going in that game, but neither have I saw the Vikings possibly going in the Lambeau Field and beating Aaron Rodgers. Like that was a surprise then. You beat Detroit. Okay. Not very impressive, No one's really scared of Detroit. No one is really scared of Detroit. Like I said it before the season, they were going 4-12. They got one lucky win against the Falcons, and because Todd Gurley accidentally scored a touchdown, you're lucky the Falcons just try to find ways to lose. So I'm just trying to understand something. So the Vikings are arguably 3-5 coming into this game, and they're favored to win. And granted, okay, now listen to that, folks. This is Monday Night Football. We all know Kirk Cousins sucks on Monday Night Football. What is he like 0-8 now, like or an 0-9 or something? I'm not sure, but somebody got to type that in the comments. Like, what's Kirk Cousins' record on Monday Night Football? So that's my whole thing. But nothing personal against Viking fans. I love you all. I talk with many Vikings fans on Instagram. I'm pretty much friends with some people like Kirk Cousins Police and Viking Skulls and Mike. I don't say the last name, but the Vikings are not really that team to be scared of. Like, I could see the Bears winning this one, but I told you in my last video, I will not get into predictions until Sunday, which is I don't get into predictions until the day before the game. But the only way you're going to see us win against the Minnesota Vikings defensively and offensively. Well, let's go to the defense because I'm a pretty defensive guy. So the defense stop Delvin Cook. 2, get pressure on Kirk Cousins. 3, create turnovers because Kirk Cousins has shown in the past he can be inconsistent sometimes. For example, he threw like he has gone games when he threw interceptions like one against a 31 ranked defense, the Falcons. Like it shows you that Kirk Cousins can be inconsistent sometimes. Then if you go to offensively for the Bears, okay. Hopefully the offense doesn't make the Vikings defense look legit. All right, I'm just keeping it above 50 with you. But there's no excuses for the Bears to lose this one. All right. There is no excuses whatsoever, okay? You have a Vikings team that's full of rookies right now or inexperienced players, and we should be able to make their lives hell. So how the Bears could win offensively is the Vikings have been torched up in the air and in the ground. So we're probably not going to be running the ball frequently because Montgomery is out because of concussion protocol. We're going to focus on the air attack, which is go to Al Robinson, Anthony Miller, and Darnell Mooney, and Riley Ridley. So that's how you're going to hurt the Vikings secondary. Then the offensive line. What they're going to have to do is focus on Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is their only good pass rusher. So any other players I've never heard of, like they are not really a threat whatsoever. Also, their corners have been burned every single play. So that's how you really hurt the Vikings defense is in the air. Very little in the run. Like their defense is okay against the run, but they're not really the defense to be feared when you're running the ball. So if I'm looking at this from a possible standard, the Vikings defense could be had. Like they don't create turnovers like the Bears do. Like, yeah, the Bears are not 2018 form, but they are the best defense in the NFC North. Okay, I don't care what you say. The Bears defense is the best in the NFC North. All right, you can't disagree. The Bears defense is the best in the NFC North. I don't see look. The Vikings defense is not like the Bears defense that get to the quarterback, create turnovers, create pressure. So I kind of told you what the Bears need to do defensively and offensively. I trust the defense more because the defense has shown they can get to Kirk Cousins in the past. Like you remember that one game when they only scored in garbage time. I remember that game because I was watching it live and they hurt Mitch Trubisky. I remember that game, and we won that game. And it was a defensive battle, and I got a lot of fantasy points. So fantasy wise, you should start Nick Foles because because remember the last time Nick Foles went up against the Vikings defense, he put up 31 points. I know what the score says. He put up 38 points, but there was a pick six in that game. So I'm going to say he put up 31 points just for the heck of it. Then The other person you can probably start is Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Jimmy Graham, and the Bears defense. Now, who do you start for the Vikings? Do you want to take a gamble on Dalvin Cook? Dalvin Cook, sure, you can take a gamble on Dalvin Cook. I would draft Dalvin Cook too. Oh no, I would start Dalvin Cook versus the Bears. So fantasy wise, you should be all good. I pretty much got the perfect set here for you. You know, I won't get into predictions until Sunday. So anyway, I all hope you're having a good Wednesday. I don't know how to say this, but I promise you, I will go live on Sunday. Okay. I know, I know I was a little bit lazy last week, not going live versus the 49ers and the Packers game, but I had a massive headache, so I couldn't really watch the whole game, even though it was over. Like, what was the point of going live if it's a blowout? So that's my whole thing. But you know, I will be going live Sunday. You heard it first. I will be going live Sunday at 1 p.m. Actually, I'll be going live 10 minutes before kickoff so everybody can join. So anyway, that's all. Please go subscribe. As always, my name is Michael, and I approve this message.